It's Tehachapod time. Maya Acosta here with Key Budge and Corey Costello today. Guys, how's it going?
Great.
Good. Yeah, very good.
Good. And we are joined by a special guest. We have Derek Davis, owner of Westlane Brewing, in to tell us all about what's happening out there at the brewery. So welcome, Derek.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. So we know that Westlane is hopping all the time throughout the weekend. We talk about it every week on our weekly update with Claire, share all of the events and activities that you guys have going on. How long have you guys just celebrated, was it your, seventh or ninth?
Yeah, it's seventh.
Seventh
7
anniversary.
years.
Awesome. So how has that been? What's the process been like for you guys starting business here?
A roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's the best way to explain it. It's highs, it's lows, it's twists and turns. But ultimately, 7 years is a big milestone for us and most breweries too at the same time, because you watch the industry tank, go down significantly. You see percentage dropping, breweries closing, and everything else at the same time. And we've still managed to make it here in a small town, which is it's a blessing in disguise for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are part of, it used to be called, was it the Beer Mile? Mm-hmm. And of course, we've got LCB over there as well. Mm-hmm. But you guys both offer different activities and, of course, different types of beer and things that suit all sorts of interests mm-hmm. and appetites, if you will. What is that like, coming up with new sorts of beers and things to offer on tap there at the brewery?
Well, that's a great question. Two things. Well, our beers are different but the same at the same time. So we try to do different styles, more European styles, where LCB is more focused on the hazy IPAs, strong ABVs, which they're fantastic and they do a really good job. So we kind of do the exact opposite.
Okay.
So you can two crowds will go two different places and they both migrate back and forth, which is good too. And when they've got music going on, they've got a great open mic thing on Thursday nights. We had that for a while on Wednesday nights, and then most of the crowd was going there. So we focused on some other things too at the same time. So we try to do things that aren't the same as other businesses around and everything too that have nightlife.
Yeah.
So you guys actually talk to each other?
Yeah, pretty often actually. Probably I would say at least every couple of weeks we reach out to each other and to see what's going on and everything too. Share things back and forth. If I'm short on something, they provide it. They're short on something, we provide it too. So
see, and that's what I think is really cool and what we find more fascinating. And as we talk to local small business owners, is you guys you're direct competition, yet you work together in a collaborative nature, so that way you guys both can thrive within the community and not trying to kill each other. But like you said, you're doing something different.
Yeah.
And it gives people a choice. They want to sample a little something mm-hmm. different. They go from one to the other. A lot of the same clientele you share. So why not give people multiple choices and both businesses can be successful?
Right. And then just getting people in the door. And it's an experience, with people worried about the economy and things like that. It's the experience when you want to come in that door. We got to make sure that your experience and your money is being valued and your time is being valued too. So whether, me and Jess are there talking to customers at night, or the music that we provide, or the beer, the food, just the environment's really thing. Because we're humbled for everybody that comes in those doors in the same time. So you have to make it a real environment for them to come into and spend money.
I think COVID made you guys change everything. And we talk about that over and over again, but you guys had to figure things out when the state said, hey, we're shutting everything down. And you guys, in order to keep doors open, you had to there was a food requirement, and everything kind of changed. And then I think, Corey, you can probably speak to this very well. All the different businesses started working together, and we started seeing communication, collaboration, and to keep local eateries, catering type businesses alive. You guys figured it out to keep the music scene alive, get musical artists going. And all of a sudden, you've got 3 different entities working together the same night at the same location.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like COVID was interesting, and it forced our hand in a few times, because we just were open about a year and a half or so before that happened. And it really made us start thinking about how we can sell beer if we want to survive. And that pushed us into canning and getting distribution more and things like that. And then really focusing in, because I don't think we had a lot of music going on or entertainment going on there. And that brought people out. People wanted to go out and be outside. And if we can entertain people like that and provide them a nice environment to be in, even outside too, that's the way, that's what we were going.
Yeah. And there's a lot of just not only just collaborations, but cross promotions and stuff happened and that sort of thing. And folks are able to, when it was to go stuff and all that, but just being able to kind of cross promote and utilize the restaurants sometimes to become the caterer for those events and that sort of thing. And that way you both were making some money and then, staying compliant. And then At some point, we just threw it out the window because it made no sense. Just went back to work, went back to business because the state was all over the place with it. But I think we were able to weather the storm for the most part.
But it made you guys reinvent yourselves and kind of look at the business model and say, okay, what do we have to do to make the change to work within the rules that were being, gosh, they were changing. It seemed like almost daily, if not, moment to moment. But you guys, this Tehachapi region thrived. Yeah. You guys, between the wineries, our brewers, you guys figured it out. You brought in all the food industry, and then you brought in the musical scene. And today I really wanted to hit on the musical scene, but to me, kind of COVID helped, kind of push that forward.
It was funny because Jess and I brought this up the other night. Is COVID was probably one of the most funnest times at the brewery because we didn't know what to do and we didn't know how to do it, but we still did it. And that we were just every day was a new weekend, or something else was going on. What can we do next? And the people were happy to come in and just get beer, just relax and just see people outside and have a conversation. So it was kind of a fun time to just kind of recreate yourself every single week. It seemed like, but it was interesting, and it's just kind of led to everything that's like present day.
Well, let's talk about the music aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, my wife and I were over at your place just a couple weeks ago. We saw a country artist out of New Mexico. He had some local ties.
Tim.
He was fantastic, and we had such a great time in there. And the vibe inside your place was perfect. And we were just able to relax for a couple hours, enjoy music, and enjoy some of the product that you have behind the counter.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do. Is we want to bring in just all kinds of music across the board. And people know us for our punk scene now, which is it's coming up with the local punk scene that's coming back around and everything. And big shout out to Andy Franchier for developing that and bringing those bands back through. But I think people get confused a lot that that's all we do, but it's not. I mean, we've made friends across the board, from country to rock and roll to acoustic to you basically name it, it's come through. Rap is not the thing we've had a few people come through to do that, and the vibe is a little different. I mean, we just haven't found the right mix for that too. But a lot of good country artists come through. We try to team up a lot of local artists with some of the bigger names that come through, and and then eventually they get together and do some collaborations or go on tour or open forum and things like that. So, and we've able to bring through music for like the Green Street Get Down and Brews on the Mountain, things like that. So that we put them in a bigger stage on the outside, which is really kind of cool too.
And I'll say that it's not, it was my scene when I was much younger, but the loud music that you have over there sometimes, the punk hardcore stuff. I did go one time just because my brother said, you gotta go. He's still into that thing. Even though the music really wasn't my vibe, the people watching was fantastic. Because you really had a pretty young crowd there, because it was, so you saw that mixture of young folks. And then you had some of the older people that are like, hey, I went to high school with that guy and he's still punk rocking, and that guy too. And so it was kind of fun just to be there. And, we sat outside because it was a little too loud for me inside these days.
I wear earplugs.
I can definitely see how that is a veteran move for sure. But it was cool. I mean, it was still fun. It was fun people watching, and we're usually waiting for the other bands to show up. Those are our nights. But it was just kind of cool to see what was, and it was a good spot for the younger kids to do something in a controlled environment. They paid and that sort of thing. And so it was they weren't out roaming the streets. They're out there.
And it's
listening to music.
It's real cool to see the bands that have come through. You have a grandpa, a dad, and a grandson all playing in the same band. Or the whole family shows up across the board because they have deep roots in music and everything too, which is really kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many bands have been spun out from playing there. I mean, we had the high school orchestra or high school band play there. They played some ska music. They didn't sing, but they played, and it was awesome to see that. And I think there's been 7 or 8, maybe even 10 bands united, broken apart, reunited, mixed, gone different ways.
Yeah.
And maybe a few albums come out of there. I know some of the local bands have gone on small tours and things like that, but it's nice to see that kind of stuff. And you're right, though, it does give the kids something to do, which is super duper important. Otherwise, they're going to find other things to do.
Yeah.
And if music's their thing to do, then we want to provide that environment.
The next step is, speaking of albums, you need somebody to cut a live album in there. I'm just saying, when you're a venue and you get that live album cut, it kind of puts you on the map.
Yeah. If we can quiet the train for a little bit, I think we can probably get something.
You know what? I think that's just part of it. That's a disclaimer on the album.
It adds to the ambiance.
It's live, man. Anything can happen. Train might roll by, whatever.
It's a Netflix special waiting to happen right there.
Yeah. And then it's given, having Matt and Kim at the House of Wax too. I think they're getting something going on that's in the works here, but it's allowed them the opportunity to, when he used to work there too, and to run sound for bigger bands and do some recording, and then get his shop up and running, his record store at House of Wax too, or House of Wax.
Yeah,
it's been really good.
Absolutely.
And it's cool too to see like bigger bands like you'd mentioned come through, bands like the Warriors that are Tehachapi legends, and then you guys are able to help kind of facilitate their kind of homecoming sort of concerts and coming back after years and putting out a new album. So it's great to see not only the new talent coming in, but you offer a great place for these local legends as well.
Yeah, and we've got a couple production companies that sign with us too, or that we have, like Sucker Punch Productions is one of them, and then Numbskull Shows. So we pick up their shows a lot too. So we had one from an old punk group that was probably in the 1980s or so, came through Total Chaos a couple months ago. That was an old scene that came through, which was really nice. And then another band that's coming out, we'll announce it today, that's going to do at the end of the month, have a big show here.
Did you ever think, like, when you went from brewing beer, like you'd be pretty much a music promoter
Nope.
at the same time?
Nope. Social media artist, music promoter.
That's right. That's right. Content creator.
No,
yeah,
none of that stuff.
You're like, I just want to make beer.
Yeah. And that's what, you have to have a social media following, and that's something that I didn't really take into consideration. It's not something I really wanted to spend a lot of time doing, but you have to do it constantly too. Otherwise it just falls off of people's minds real quick.
Yeah.
Is it Instagram that's the platform?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, that's the only one I kind of mess around with, or we kind of mess around with. I mean, we probably could get on Snapchat and TikTok and all that stuff like that, but man, my time's limited when it comes to these kinds of things sometimes.
Yeah.
I know that we've been in Maya's books bands for us here at the city, because now we're in the music scene. Thanks to you.
Yeah, no, thanks to us. Thanks to everybody.
Well, it's, I guess, Farmers Market a few years ago kind of kicked it off, having live music.
Right.
That was just a good feel. It just felt right. It was a good combination, and families hung out, and they would eat their food, enjoy the music, and then go back into the blend. And then it kind of morphed again when all of a sudden there was an idea that came from you about Green Street Get Down. Yeah, but you sparked it, and then we were able to work together to make the Green Street Get Down happen. I mean, year one officially last year, but the year before Hurricane Hillary knocked it out.
Yeah.
But last year was a monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
It was just wall-to-wall people up and down Green Street having a good time, multi-generations like you talk about, that were there in attendance. I don't know how many women were out there dancing, but they were all having a blast.
Yeah, and from a band that maybe nobody had heard about down south.
Right.
We brought the right style of music into downtown that created that environment, and then gave an opportunity for people to come in and relax and hang out. And that was really cool to see.
And that was, so last year, kind of officially year one.
Yeah.
We actually got the concert in.
Yeah.
And then this year, we're all about it. And our headliner is going to be Video One, based out of Bakersfield. And again, we thank you for that, because it's a band that you've brought in, Westlane, and they really impressed us. And we're like, hey, we need to get these guys to play Green Street, because, again, it's going to be multi-generational. People are going to want to be out there dancing in the street, enjoying a summer night in Tehachapi.
Yeah, and that band is, and we try to do a good sourcing of our music that comes through too, because like you said before, I mean, what everybody else has got going on around here, you've got the local 5 or 7 people that rotate around all the time, but we want to bring in use them, of course, but bring in some other folks too to expand that. Everybody's looking for something different. And Video One with their new wave 80s music and like late 90s or early 90s music is really good.
They sound so close to the original artists. Yeah. That's what blew me away. And there was so many different bands. Then we started, my wife and I were tracking them on Instagram and following their social, and their sounds were like, is that the original artist, or is that them? I go, no, that's their lead singer. I mean, they were just nailing a lot of these artists that they cover.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good year this year for them to come out and do that. I mean, it's going to be perfect music for downtown for sure.
It's going to be a good time. But with what you guys have going on at Westlane and music at LCB, the wineries also, I mean, a lot of soloist duets. I mean, it's that whole, I don't want to call it a kind of a circle, but everyone kind of rotates around and it just changes
And they
the
play with
environment.
different groups too.
Right.
I mean, I was talking to a guy the other day. He's got like 3 different bands now,
Cody.
and they all have a different style. And he's like, one's newer and they're working on stuff, and one does this and one does that, and then but between different venues, they're able to gig a couple 3 times a week now and not even leave Tehachapi. So it's kind of cool. I mean, to have that ability to where there's enough people now and enough venues to be able to support musicians bouncing around and playing with this group and that group and that sort of thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah, at any given time, I mean, from Thursday to Sunday, you can have live music in town, which is, I think it's pretty new to the town too. At the same time, you can just throw a dart on the map and go, there's live music there, and go out there and check that out. It's just the setting that they're in and everything too. It can be from outside acoustic to the wineries to warehouses to streets to fill in the blank. We come in like a little Nashville over here, which is kind of neat.
Right. Yeah.
We just need a recording studio, or do we have one that I'm not aware of?
I might have seen an application the other day for something along those lines. Yeah.
There might be one coming through. Stay tuned, folks. There might be something coming through.
Yeah.
It won't be at Westlane Brewing, but it's something
nearby.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's one of the ingredients. And so we've got someone that's ready to plug it in.
Yep. And we've been strongly encouraging that person for a while to do it. And I'm glad that they're getting to their dream, their goal, and their future right there for sure.
But again, so this person is going to operate this business, collaborates with you, has conversations. You guys talk, brainstorm.
We've met.
But you have those kinds of conversations. That's the beauty of this town.
Yeah.
I think is this nature of working together, want you to succeed, and they're not thinking about themselves in the midst of it.
And you don't need necessarily like a record deal anymore, right? Like obviously that's going to get you your large scale play. However, just like with books, you can self-publish, and the same with music. You can self-publish your music when you find the right recording. Rent a studio, and you lay your tracks down, and you can put it on Spotify and Apple Music and that sort of thing, and get it out there, and then get suggested on playlists and that sort of thing. I mean, you may not be a millionaire like if you had a record deal, but you can get your music recorded, and distributed without having a giant distribution house and have to rely really on local airplay to get your songs out there. I mean, now just because of the internet and self-publishing, you can get it done.
Yeah, the independent scene is where a lot of folks are succeeding. I mean, I think that where Zach Bryan got to start there too. So he's a prime example. Like, if you follow him a lot and listen to his early stuff, that's where he came from.
Yeah, and
it's
usually better.
Yeah, a lot of these local musicians. I mean, there's some untapped talent here for sure. I mean, Darren Lee is amazing when it comes to country music and things like that. And there's some other folks too, like Tim Styles coming through, and he's just to catch him, we're lucky enough when we pick him up when he comes through, and he always likes to play there too, which is a crowd he really enjoys. But we've had Justin Lawrence has come through from Clovis, and then we've had a bunch of other folks too from down south, reggae wise and everything too. They're all on the verge. They just need to be discovered a little bit more, So it's really cool to see.
When is Dub Seeds coming back? That's just all I know.
Summer solstice, June 20th. Yeah, we're having summer solstice party.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're super good.
My wife's not a big fan of reggae, but I'm like, we're going anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care. I love it. They're great.
And then that band.
And their reggae covers are hilarious.
There's
great too.
Another band too from Bakersfield that just started up called Morning Drive, and we just had them at the shop not too long ago. They just started, and it's a dad and a son, and a few other folks too.
Okay.
And they're super good, and they're kind of come back. We're doing a senior send-off party for the seniors of high school on the Sunday the 8th at the Brewery, and they're going to be playing then too. So,
nice.
Yeah.
What's some of the success that you've had with working with some of your other business partners here in town? You've got some of the food places that are there.
Right.
You've worked out some great working relationships.
That's what in this town you have to. There's no effort or energy to be enemies with people, because it's just going to backfire in your face. We've, throughout Kern County, we've been able to brand beer for certain places, like the Joint out in Randsburg. We brew all their beer for them too. The bar that's out there is really kind of cool. So
very cool.
Yeah, that was really neat to be able to pull that one off. And even through the summertime, they've been using it and selling it and everything too. So that's really neat to have our beer and see our labels, or see their label, but we know that's our beer out there, which is really kind of cool to see, and just the local relationships. I mean, I think our beer's in every restaurant up here except for just a couple of them, which is good and bad. It's nice that it's there because we're only open on the weekends, but it takes away from people coming into the tap room. So we have to make the tap room a place that people want to go to, even though when they can go to TK's or Domingo's or somewhere else like that and grab some of our beer there. And when we place our beer around town, we don't give the same beer to certain people. We give it, so mix it up. So if you want to find red, you got to go to this place. You want to find IPA, you got to go to this place and stuff like that. So you can't just go one stop shop. We still want you to come in the brewery because that's where the experience is.
What's going to be on tap for the summer in terms of brews? Like, what do you have? Anything?
Oh yeah, we're switching to over
special ones?
Yeah, our summer beers are coming out right now. So like Pale Rider's coming back, which is our golden stout with coffee and coconut, and we got our watermelon ale coming back like that. So all of our summer stuff is it's in the process right now being made. So
cool.
Yeah.
My wife had a coconut beer. She loved it.
Yeah.
Thought it was just. She goes, okay, that's what I want. You gotta remember, I just went up and said coconut.
Yeah. And now in like our golden stout, which is just a dark stout with no dark grains on it, so it's more coffee forward flavors and everything too. So that goes well for the summertime for the people that like those little stout beers and everything.
So when you go from season to season, what goes in mind? Is there a pattern, or is it just your creativity?
You can track trends and things like that, and we've seen them. We're by no means professionals or experts at this stuff. We just kind of trying to get through one day at a time here. But people tend to drink more citrus flavored beers, lighter beers, and things like that during the summertime. In the wintertime, they're more malty, heavier. That's when the stouter beers and the reds and all that kind of stuff come through, and we blend those back through and everything too. And then we'll break out the slushy machine again this summertime, so we'll have slushies and everything with our seltzers and things like that all year.
Now, we've just got through having our city council approve the entertainment zone. So I don't even know if we've talked about it on the podcast.
I don't think so, no. But
So, Corey, tell the folks entertainment zone, what that means, and then we'll bring in Derek to what that means for him.
Yeah. So what it basically does is this was created right after COVID, actually, for the city and county of San Francisco, because they had so much they'd closed so many businesses. And so some of their more, popular areas with bars and restaurants, they wanted to say, hey, we want to give an opportunity for people to like consume offsite inside of this area because they're bar hopping, whatever, but then they don't have to like finish their drink and walk outside. They can carry it with them. And so that was kind of the intent of it. And so it was only for San Francisco at first. And then a couple other cities after they rolled it out said, hey, well, what about it really was larger cities making the case for it, LA and San Diego. They did some stuff in the Gaslamp Quarter, and so they wanted to allow that too. So a law was passed, SB 969 last year, that said we're going to open this up to all the cities, and any city can basically say, okay, this is my entertainment zone. You kind of cordon off an area. You get your police approval, you have your council pass an ordinance with days and times that it's open, and it basically allows any alcohol licensee inside of that area, which for ours, it's Tehachapi Boulevard to to E Street, and then Curry to Robinson. And anytime we have a special event, the entertainment zone is effectively open. So any of those businesses inside that have a beer, wine, liquor license opts into the ABC, says I'm going to be taking part, and then we'll work with them on, there's certain things they can't do. They can't sell in glass. They can't sell bottles. They have to sell it in a plastic cup. They have to do some age verification, wristband type stuff, but it kind of eliminates the need necessarily for like a quote unquote beer garden where you're like caged up. You'll be able to kind of, example, Stray Leaves, you could buy wine in a plastic glass and come out to the concert. You don't have to stay on the patio like you did last year. Special events, same sort of thing. And it also opens up opportunities for folks like Derek and Westlane, even though they're out of the entertainment zone, but if they're doing like a tap takeover at a licensed establishment inside, same sort of deal. Like they can get their beer sold and people can go in, buy a beer, and then walk back out into the entertainment zone. So it's just a good opportunity to kind of open up some of these things without having to do traditional beer gardens where, folks are just caged around standing instead of walking around and enjoying the festival, farmer's market, whatever it is.
So a farmer's market's going to kick off our first entertainment zone, which is in early June.
Yeah.
Derek, are you ready to announce? Is it official or?
Just look for us down there.
Okay, then you'll have there may
Their
be
beer will be available at one of the licensed establishments inside of the entertainment zone.
tap takeover near you.
Yeah. Look for us on Thursday nights downtown somewhere close.
It's just a way, and we were the first. I'm gonna say we might be the first city to actually have adopted it in the state, because I had when I work with the legal team, and they've got offices all over the state, and they said, outside of San Francisco, no one's done this yet. And so they're like, so they actually did a lot of our ordinances copied from what San Francisco had, just because that was the only sort of entertainment zone out there. And then right after we passed ours, I got a couple emails from folks in bigger cities down south, like, oh, we're getting ready to take ours forward. Like, we looked at yours and you're one of the first people out there. Yeah. So it really wasn't intended for small cities, but for us, because we have so much going on downtown on Green Street in the summer, it was, and throughout the fall, it was a great opportunity to open up that area a little bit, and it'll really, I think, add to certain events. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's the sky's the limit for what can happen and it's gonna happen downtown. That's for sure. So.
Yeah.
Well, and part of it that people don't understand is that ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control here in the state of California, their rules have kind of float a little bit.
And depends on the event type.
Yeah. So farmers markets, if you have a farmers market, there are certain rules that apply. And then it really restricts and limits you having a beer garden. And then it has to, you can only give a 4-ounce pour. Tasters. And you can't have, so those that go, I want to have a beer and be able to just kind of walk around and enjoy it. Well, this is how you're able to do it. We figured it out because it puts a lot of restrictions on you, limited space, and people have to stay in that space, and they only get the one tasting. So because we want to make sure that we're following all the rules and regulations, and then also make it safe for everybody. So we, thanks to this ordinance and all the work you put in, Corey, we're going to be able to kick it off in June.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. We saw some stuff, paperwork and stuff for the ABC and businesses to file, but I think it's going to be great. And I look forward to seeing how it works, and I'm sure other people are watching to see how ours works before they go down that road. But it is the right time to do it, I think, just because we're at that point with downtown and events and stuff to where, like, okay, this actually would benefit. And it helps benefit businesses too. We don't have to bring in beer vendors to compete with businesses that are selling inside, and now they can also sell for outside consumption as well. So that money will stay in their pockets, and they don't have to compete with an outside vendor.
And then with Green Street Get Down, we'll do like we did last year. Well, because it's not a farmer's market, there's different rules that apply, and it frees us up to do something else in the entertainment zone. So we'll be able to allow you to bring in your beer trailer like we did at the concert last year, so that we can actually have it out on the street to go along with the businesses that now can do the off-site sales.
Beer, if you're not a beer person and you're going to do wine, well, then you can get it from Stray Leaves and walk into the concert. If you want a mixed drink, you get into Wellness and get that, and walk out onto the end of the concert. So that'll help. It'll be a lot of variety for people, and I think that's really going to be, I think, the biggest beneficial event will be Green Street Get Down, to be able to have those concerts and kind of have that ability in the entertainment zone to utilize that ordinance. It should be fun.
And like I said, when we got last year was 1.5 because the first year the hurricane kind of rained us out. That was still a good turnout for that, because we put everybody back in the shop, and then it was packed in there. But having everybody outside, I mean, there was a couple thousand people down there, real close to it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
how much beer did you go through?
I think we went through 3 barrels that whole entire night.
Wow.
So that's 180, 200 gallons of beer, somewhere in there, I think. But I mean, LCB had one.
I think
side
I
of
was
our
responsible
trailer
for about
too,
2 of those gallons.
LCB had we.
That's right.
We partnered with them, and they were on one side of the trailer, we were on the other. So there was 8 taps going the whole entire time. I don't think the line ever stopped until we stopped serving at the.
And I got to the point where I was just choosing what was the shortest line.
Yep.
I'm like, well, usually I drink Derek's this, but I'm just going to over here. This line's shorter.
It was great,
and vice versa.
It was great to see. I mean, I think the word got out and it's going to get out even further this year, because they remember from last year, and that's going to multiply this one out. So it's going to be really neat to see. I can't wait.
There were so many people that just enjoyed that event. So, I mean, that was, you and your wife, Jessie, idea that you pitched to us, and we said, how can we get involved, working together? And then just getting all the businesses, there was, and we timed it at the end of Mountain Festival, the day that takes place at Central Park. We timed it so there wouldn't be any conflict. The same with what goes on over at the Rodeo and Event Center, so we wouldn't have any conflicts, and people got to enjoy multiple things that day. And man.
No, especially with everything that was going on, you could stop when the music stopped here for a second at Green Street, and you can hear what's going on at the VFW, because they had a band too. So anybody could walk around. Like I said, it's like almost getting to be like Nashville, where you can go in any little place at any point in time. Somebody's got a guitar in the corner playing, which is neat to see. I mean, if that's what the image that we're looking for in Tehachapi, I think we're creating that scene for sure.
People come from outside the area. And now, let me ask you, as a business owner, I'm sure you hear someone saying, "Hey, I drove up from somewhere, to check it out because I heard about this, that, or the other." And
not this last weekend, because that was more of a local crowd because the locals band Mill Street Exit was there. So there's all kind of the regulars, and the regulars that bounce around following them, and each band's got their own following, so that's like neat. But that morning drive band that came up, a lot of folks from Bakersfield I've never seen before at all, and a lot of folks from Lancaster that you've never seen before. So your commuting area, your demographics there are coming around. So you never know who's going to come in. I mean, if you ask me to bet a paycheck on who's going to come in tonight, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose because I don't know anymore. It's like it's a random crowd, and you see the folks that maybe have stopped drinking, and new folks coming through and everything too. And we get a lot of transients coming, people traveling through that, Google us and LCB and the wineries and things like that come through, which is kind of neat to see, so, and bringing life down to downtown now is huge. I think this is a perfect town to have that, and now we've been able to do something like that too, which is really, really important.
Yeah, and we've had some, there's been some the Sheridan's Antiques, they retired on the antique portion, still doing Kelsey's, but they retired on the antique portion. So, they own that building. They're looking to lease that out. And then there's been a few others that have relocated to different shopping centers. They started down here, and maybe this wasn't the traffic they're looking for, and so they've moved. And so there's already people lining up to take that space, and they're really they're eclectic and different, which is good. I think we're going to have, the antique side was great for a while, and I think there's still a presence of that, but we're moving to that sort of like more tourist shop where there's going to get foot traffic, people going, "Oh, this shop looks unique. This looks different. Let me pop in." And so I'm looking forward for the next, probably 3-4 months as we see sort of a transition of some of these businesses downtown that have either retired or they're moving to a different location in the city. What that kind of crowd looks like downtown, because I'm going to see a little bit of a change, which is going to be great.
Yeah, and then just keep bringing events into town. I mean, we've been hit up by the California beer runs where they want to do a 5K in town here, for the beer focused runs and things like that. It's kind of funny how many people reach out to probably us and Tyson both to bring more events back into town and things like that, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it opens the door. I mean, it is a community by far. I mean, alcohol, whether it's beer, wine, or whatever, it is a community, especially the craft brewery industry. It's like I said, it's ebbs and flows. All of a lot of highs. Pre-COVID, COVID hit a lot of lows again when people are closing and everything else are consolidating, and it's just been a wild ride. But I mean, the community is still strong. I mean, the beer events are still strong, and we're still putting those on throughout town too. And then, Lancaster, Bakersfield, and all those places too, and Mammoth, we all participate in all those ones too at the same time.
Yeah, I'm curious what has the. I know the distilled spirits industry has struggled recently, and there's been a lot of different reasons as to why. I think they got to a COVID high because people were drinking more liquor during COVID to cope. And then that kind of settled down. And then, there's issues now with, tariffs and that sort of thing. But even before that, they were saying it's the distilled spirits industry, especially bourbon, Jack Daniels, did some layoffs. Have you seen any of that impact on, on beer sales and that sort of thing?
Definitely. And, rightfully so. I mean, it's just how many beers can you drink in a day or a week or something like that if you're trying to be reasonable?
Well, if you're betting me.
Yeah, I know. I can sit down and have a conversation, that's for sure. But, I mean, and rightfully so, we're only open 2 days a week. So, I mean, that's why we want to provide that experience. When you come into Westlane, we want you to enjoy yourself. Like tomorrow night, we got music. Friday night, we got music bingo going on. If you haven't partaked in that one, it's pretty cool. Can't really explain it. Still trying to figure it out, but it draws a big crowd. That's pretty awesome.
Nice.
And then on Saturday, we're doing the all-out adult prom because the prom's going on in town for the high school kids. So all the folks that still miss their senior proms and everything get dressed up and come on over. Awards for best dressed and everything too. We got a DJ that night. So we're trying some different things to just bring community together more or less. And that's always been our focus. I mean, our motto is beer made for community, and we're not going to change that. That's what we're standing on and everything too. So if you're looking for conversation and just fellowship and things like that and community, that's what we're here for. That's what Westlane is all about.
Yeah, nice.
And I think it's important to note too, you guys are all ages, right? It's an all ages establishment.
Because we don't have hard alcohol. So once you bring the hard alcohol mix in there too, you gotta go back to your bar now. So
yeah, and it's a tasting room. It's not a pub.
Yep. All those things. Yeah.
All those different differentiations.
And you've got food available.
Yep. All the time. And that's like going back to the COVID thing. I mean, when when restaurants were struggling and everything too, we worked out through all those folks to come over to serve food at our place at the same time too. So it kept them. I mean, I don't know how much impact we had on them, but it gave them an opportunity to sell food at a place that they couldn't sell before.
Yeah.
So
I think it helped create true catering businesses,
Yeah.
catering aspects where they became portable. They understood how to pare down a menu to instead of offering this that would take 40 minutes. People are being served quickly with food. And for my wife and I, we always love pub food.
Yep.
So it's like when you go out to your patio, and all of a sudden it's street taco night. It's like, yeah, all right, that's going to pair better with this one. I want the hazy.
Yeah.
So, I think those are the things that, we look for when we travel. And obviously when people kind of roll through town, they Googled, local breweries, yours pops up, they swing by, they have a good experience. Yeah. And the word travels.
Well, every time I travel and go to a different microbrewery, I text Derek when I'm there. And I'm like, the beer's okay. I like your this better. Or
And that's the other cool thing is we've seen the iterations of food trucks come through, just like with music at the same time too. We've seen two people play music and start a band after it. We've seen a guy get his catering permit and buy multiple people buy food trucks now, and now they're down here at farmers markets and everything too, and they're all over Tehachapi. So I mean. It was an untapped market for a second, and now it's just thriving. Now you have to actually book them 2 and 3 months ahead of time because you're basically competing with the wineries and everybody in LCB or across the board. So we look at who's got food like those foods, and we go find new friends, and then say, hey, you want to come up here and try Westlane and try it out for a weekend and everything too. Then put them in contact with you guys for farmers market events and things like that. So. It just brings more different business into town too.
And that's what I tell people, because a lot of folks are involved in this. Sometimes have this romantic idea of owning food trucks and that sort of thing, and I let them know, like, you can definitely do it. It's a tough. We're not LA. You can't necessarily. You don't have the traffic to sit on a corner, but you need to get connected with the breweries and the wineries and the special events. That will keep you plenty busy doing that sort of thing, because we're just not the foot traffic area of having 8 food trucks lined up in downtown LA at lunch hour. Like, we don't have that. But your money is going to be in connecting with business owners that have these special events or breweries, wineries, that sort of thing.
And it put them in a lot of the food trucks put them in contact with, because we get a lot of COs that come into the brewery and everything to music, and then they coordinated food trucks. They have food trucks out there every week now, or almost every day. So it puts business back on the food trucks coming out there at the same time. So it's a networking thing, and 100% it is. And relationships is what it is. So.
Relationships have to be a huge part of it, because I can see where you book someone and then all of a sudden they get the call for, I got a better gig offer. And I know the musicians, sometimes that's let's say a flake factor. So, but if they realize they burn you, they're not going to be your first choice coming back. So I bet you there's a little bit more loyalty. And then so with that, and I think probably you guys have to be loyal in the business community too, between the wineries, and not undercutting or I'm going to throw them an extra $50. Let's get them over here.
Yeah. You can just it puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth across the board. I think we've got relationships well with everybody. Some we network more with, some network less with. It just depends. But I don't think anybody up here is ultimately out for anybody else at the same time too. Everybody's trying to run their business the best they can. They're trying to be artisans in their craft and everything too. And everybody's a little different. I mean, like, I couldn't tell you the difference between a red wine and a red wine and a red wine, but everybody can across the board out there, which is really cool to see. I mean, having a wine region, microbreweries downtown and everything too, it's given people a reason to come to Tehachapi outside of and then having the music on top of that too, plus nice weather. Looking at trains, I mean, fill in the blank. It's starting to happen up here, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So what's next?
Thursday. Let's say that.
The next day.
Lots of things. I mean, Jess and I have a lot of ideas that we want to do. It's just the timing and the fit. Can it work? And with a high school senior this year, we're gonna, it's gonna free up a little bit more time, but we still both have full-time jobs and everything too. What's next? I mean, the next big logical thing that would take a little bit of undertaking is getting a real building. I mean, like, no offense to the building we have now, but something bigger, outside area, trees. I mean, I would love to be downtown at some point in time too. We're just kind of seeing what's going to happen this next little bit. it is kind of frightening or concerning, at least, to see a downturn in the beer industry. I think they're forecasting the last year and a half 21% down. So those are big numbers when your margins are slow, you know.
Yeah.
So, and we've been maintaining and staying the course. Everything, we haven't tried anything wild yet. You know, we brought music in, new food, you know, some different styles of beers and here and that, but. We're staying the course, which is pretty cool, you know, especially in a smaller town, a transient town like this too. With, you know, getting people, like I said, getting people to come out and make the experience like positive. That's the best thing we could probably do, and focus on customer service and then beer quality too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, the name Westlane, there's a story behind that.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows it.
Yeah.
A lot do. Can you share the name?
Sure can.
Where it came from?
Sure can. It's been a while because there's not been a lot of workups up here for several years now too. Just changing of, administrations and everything too. And, war fighting has been done. So Westlane's, what happened, or where the name came from, is we're west of NTC, which is National Training Center out of Barstow. And so when it's working with the special forces and government and everything too, we would do training turns and training workups here in Tehachapi, and they call it the West Lane. And then getting close with those folks and knowing them personally, and having really good friends and family in the service and everything too. It was just kind of around the table one night drinking, like, you should open a brewery, you should open a brewery, you should open a brewery, you should open a brewery and call it Westlane. I go, all right. So that's what it is. So north of NTC is North Lane, and east, so on and so forth. But that's where the name came from. And there's a lot of little secrets around the brewery. You can probably find team patches and flags on the wall from Afghanistan and Africa and everywhere else the teams have been deployed to. There's still some workups here, but not to the level they used to be doing, the full scale workups and everything too.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've contacted us about doing one.
Yeah.
Several years.
A lot of those folks that were here now are in, like, one of them, I won't say his name because he's still active, but he's over in Eastern Europe. He's a full bird general now. So
okay.
he's one of the guys running an area completely now. So yeah, it's cool to see. Yeah. But yeah, there's been some folks come through from the West Lane, the true West Lane, not the brewery West Lane. From the true West Lane into West Lane, there's been some pretty notable military folk come through. So it's cool to see.
It's got to make you feel good.
Oh, it's humbling every single day. I mean, it's a level of frustration, happiness, emotional. You go through all the gamut every single day sometimes with the brewery.
Yeah, it depends on the day you go there. 'Cause sometimes Derek's ready to sell the place to you. You want to buy a brewery today? You're like, you want to buy a brewery?
Yeah. No, it's neat to see that. I mean, it's cool to sit down with you guys and talk about things where what the future can look like in Tehachapi for at least entertainment size. I mean, and especially something that my background's a natural resource and a little bit in psychology. I'm not a brewer now. I'm a brewer now. I'm not a brewmaster. Definitely not a business, marketing or entertainment specialist by any means, but we've created culture. I mean, we're creating culture, which is really kind of cool.
And I think we're along the lines, a smaller scale, but in the Midwest, they have issues with weather, right? And I remember, and I was just in Milwaukee, and it was still cold there, but I was there visiting years ago, and in Chicago and Milwaukee, and I was taken aback by, in the summertime, how busy like their ball games were. Cubs games, White Sox, Brewers. I'm like, it's a Wednesday night, and this place is sold out. Like, what the heck? California, you can't sell at a Wednesday night Major League game, and, unless it's a big playoff game. What's the deal? And the bartender made a good point. He said, man, we're locked down about 9 months a year around here. It's so cold. We don't go outside. So when the 3 to maybe 4 months of sunlight we get and warm temperatures, we're outside, we're with our friends, we're, taking any excuse, weeknight, it doesn't matter. And so I see the same thing here. I mean, we do kind of go indoors in the winter, and our, winter's months can get weird. But then when the summer hits, and yes, it's warmer than it was in the winter, but it's still not as warm as our surrounding communities like Bakersfield and Antelope Valley. And so I think we're really seeing that sort of happen here too, where it's like, okay, now we can get outside.
Right.
And now we can go enjoy every Friday, Saturday night somewhere and have an outside event or whatever it may be. So I'm really starting to see that happen here with the availability of, live music especially.
Yeah, just that's what you got to give people a reason to come out there. And we still hear this. It's 7 years, yes. Be it as it may, we're open on the weekends and things like that. Maybe we don't do the best advertising. That's fine because we get the people that we want to see in there. But it's still funny to me that people lived here 10, 15, 20 years and go, we've never heard of you. How long have you been here? And I'm like, we just opened up, to put it back on them about it. But yeah, I mean, just the fragmented communities throughout Tehachapi. I mean, like if you're in Bear Valley, it's a trek to come in. So you want to make a night of it and everything, and just vice versa. I mean, there's bands that play at Oak Tree Country Club that, I mean, we've never seen at the brewery too at the same time. So everybody's got their little spot, which is cool. I mean, it's nice to see that. And they've got their own community built up there. They're comfortable there, those kinds of things too. And I mean, if we can be that one of those spots and not one of those stops, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
I know for my wife and I, you've been open for 7 years. We finally got in the doors here within the last 6 months, and we've been in a few times.
Are you one of them?
Yeah, never heard of you.
We had come by a couple of times, and we were off on hours.
Yeah.
We missed, because like you said, limited opening, and so we missed a couple times. And now it's like, okay, we're dialed in with what your hours are, and then now following on the music side, it was like, okay, it's like I told Chris, I said, hey, we got a country act. Over at Westlane. She goes, okay, we're in.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, it's on. You're adding it onto people's radar.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that's great is then we start chatting about it, and before you know it, we've told our friends, and that whole old commercial of you told two friends and you told two friends, and all of a sudden it grows like
And
that.
that's what honestly that's the vibe, the environment we really want to see. I mean, that's community, and you can meet a few new people, but the 10, 15, 20 people that want to come in there and their conversations never stop and everything else at the same time too. Those are priceless moments in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
So
matter of fact, when we were there for the country act, there was one table and there was 8, and they had their cowboy hats on, and they were true Western people that were there.
They like both kinds of music, country and Western.
Right. And their conversation never stopped.
Yep.
They were there because they enjoyed the vibe and everything, and enjoying each other, but they were just having their conversation. And then when the song went in, they were all, cheering. But, if people come for different reasons, but it's because of the atmosphere that you guys provide that makes it comfortable to, if I just want to chill and watch, I can, or if I want to have the conversation, I don't feel bad that I'm interrupting someone else. So that you guys offer that atmosphere that's very welcoming. Just relax.
Yeah, I mean, we ultimately want to provide a space where everybody's happy and comfortable and having a good time. I mean, just being able to host the baseball dinners, football events, and stuff like that, pre-games, post-games, all that kind of things has been really cool. I mean, just to have the kids in there and make the place make a hometown kind of thing, like the old Shakey's Pizzas and all that stuff,
Right.
in those little areas and stuff like that. It's kind of like how I envision it, like everybody's comfortable there kind of thing. So,
Well, that's cool. And we're gonna host. We've been talking about adding some more live music events, so you might see some more things popping up around downtown.
I've heard.
Try and collaborate a little bit with you as we get closer. But it's we give you the credit. I think we look to you as bringing in music and putting it. You may not have been the first ones to do it, but you guys really have highlighted it and put it, with the variety. And just in making it so inviting, and sharing it, that I think we give you a lot of credit for the new Tehachapi music scene. Yeah. It's not so new now, but it is a true music scene that we've got, and it's just so enjoyable.
Yeah, and like the next big steps is we've been trying to lock down is with some folks. I won't say who they are yet. Is to bring comedy back up here, or comedy once a month or something like that too. Yeah. So now that I've said that, probably someone's going to jump on it. You almost got to keep things close to your cards close to your heart, because it's like everybody's in a little bit of competition with each other and everything too at the same time. But it's like it doesn't matter as long as there's entertainment going on here and people share back and forth and things like that too. But yeah, having a comedy scene up here would be cool, because I mean that revolution is happening right now. So I mean that would be pretty neat to have once a month. Pretty cool comedies. I know there's kids that are up here that are funny that we'll get up on stage. I mean, just give them an opportunity, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there used to be a huge comedy tour, little stops along the way. Yeah, I mean, to add Tehachapi to that for these guys that are touring, because I mean, they'll pile 4 or 5 guys deep in a car, drive from, they're working Northern Cal, and then also they're on their way to Southern California. Got a night in between. Hey, let's stop in Tehachapi and share what's on our mind.
Yeah, 4 or 5 guys in a car traveling the States. It smells like a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when they're comedians.
And just getting bringing the production companies into the mix too. Like when they both hit us up, both back and forth, if we can pick up shows that have in between stops from LA to Bakersfield, LA to Fresno, that brings a lot of big name musicians into town too. So I mean, They might be older, but it's just going to start. It's putting Tehachapi on the map as far as the big production places and everything wanting to come in and music. They do warm up sets here, and you can catch them on their acoustic nights or something like that, which is what Tim Stiles did when he came through. I mean, he's just traveling back from all his gigs up north, and he was going back to Arizona or New Mexico, and he's always going to stop in here. And that guy, man. And if you haven't seen him, you guys got to check him out when he comes back through town.
He was phenomenal. Yeah, my wife bought his entire catalog that night. So.
Yeah, he's I think he's discovered, but he probably needs to be discovered, so for sure.
And he's a great songwriter.
Oh, completely. He writes a lot of songs for a lot of folks too.
Yeah.
He's like those nights where you catch it in Nashville or something like that, where that guy wrote the song, but somebody else is singing the song and something like that. So.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. There are so many guys that are, they're traveling musicians, but they really made their money in writing songs for other people who have turned them into massive hits.
Right.
And that allows them to kind of still tour.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually really most of the guys you see on any music level aren't writing their own stuff. Like and especially in country music, there's a much more talented songwriter behind them who doesn't have the deliverable it factor maybe as the big record label superstar, but they want to buy that song.
Yeah, and that's the thing is those folks pop through town all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're not following us, you probably should follow us, follow the other breweries and wineries in town, and see what's going on. Because there's a lot of folks that just pop in on a whim, or we make room for them and things like that. We always promise them nights and everything too.
Do you ever do like just a pop up night where all of a sudden you'll add the night because of someone's availability?
Yeah.
Okay, and the only way you're going to find out is if you're following Westlane Brewing,
or you just happen to be in there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how can people follow Westlane's message? Where are you at on social media?
Instagram, Westlane Brewing, and then Facebook as well. We're not on Snapchat or TikTok. We might be. I'm not sure, but like I said, I know the marketing manager for Westlane. He's not the best when it comes to these advertising things, but they could get better. I need to hire a 17 or 18-year-old to do this kind of thing for me. Maybe a daughter or something like that. They can do it. But yeah, that's what it is.
And then where are you guys located for those that don't know?
207 East 8th Street. And if you go outside from the studio right here, and if you're a good throw like Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite, you can probably hit the brewery just across the tracks on the right-hand side. That's where it is.
Very cool.
Yeah, big orange sign on a black building out there. So
excellent
Good stuff.
Yep.
Derek, anything else that you want to make sure that we touch on?
Nope. Just for new listeners that haven't heard of us and everything, or heard of the scene in Tehachapi, it's worth checking out. Between local craft beer, us, the wineries, and everything else, and what the city of Tehachapi's got going on, we're rolling into warm season now. So get your shorts on and come enjoy some nighttime music and some entertainment in town. And try some beers too at the same time.
And
Absolutely.
your hours of operation?
We're going to go back to Thursdays through Saturdays, and then it's all going to be from 4 o'clock to 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 on Thursdays and Fridays, and then Saturdays is 2 to 9.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
Yep.
Definitely recommend checking them out. As you said, there's always so much variety of entertainment and food and drinks and whatever. The whole gamut. We've got lots to offer here in Tehachapi. You just have to go check it out, and then you'll be hooked.
Yeah. And if I happen to be there, you can buy me a beer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The first round's on you.
No, maybe the next. Actually, I found that trick is actually buy the first round. They don't pay for a drink the rest of the night.
Yep.
That's the trick.
Yep.
Well, great. Derek, thanks so much for coming
Yeah,
in
thanks
today.
for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Key, Corey, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
And for everybody listening, if you have a question or comment for Derek or anything that you heard on the episode today, you can email us media@tehachapicityhall.com and we will get that directed to the right place. As always, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you back here next time on Tehachapod.